Corner, brought to you by New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity. Hi, welcome to New York Parrot's Literary Corner. I'm Dustin Pickering, your noble and honest host. Remember, we have the Literary Parrot Series 2. As you can see behind me here, this is the cover of the Literary Parrot. If you haven't picked up your copy, you need to get it now. It's absolutely essential to support our programming and to have an excellent document of the times as we're experiencing them. So today we have Rick Christiansen, who had just recently got his copy as of, I believe, yesterday. And we're going to discuss a little bit about what his impressions are and his own work that's in the book. So, Rick, how are you today? It's nice to see you again. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, it is great to be here.
So, you just got this copy of what, yesterday, I believe?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so what are your impressions of the book?
Well, it is. It's large.
Okay.
And full of a lot of really, really wonderful work.
Excellent.
That's what's so special about Series 1 and Series 2. With most anthologies, you're generally going to get a lot of work that is one piece is very similar to another. And there is some similarity in this, but yeah, I mean, it's international. It's every style you can imagine. There are a huge number of poetic voices here, and they are consistently compelling and on a wide variety of subjects. And, much like the show, much like Literary Corner, you can come to one place and you're going to get a window into the world of art and literature and fiction and any intellectual pursuit you can imagine.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. I'm glad you're enjoying it. What do you think of the cover there? We had some. We released a couple of ideas that we had, and we got some input. And we had one person who said that it didn't have enough of an international flavor. We had a Statue of Liberty picture, and they said, well, it doesn't really give the international flavor that the anthology seeks to promote. So we put the world there, and a globe with the parrot at the top as we see in the background there.
I was on that thread when people were talking their way through it, and it really did come together when I forget who it was pointed out, hey, this is an international collection. And parrots are from Africa and South America, but the planet is everything. And so I think it ended up being a really good choice because it does. I mean, it shows that this comes from everywhere. We've got people in here from all parts of the United States, Central, South America, Africa, near Asia, India. And so I think the cover does a good job of illustrating what you're going to find inside that cover.
Right. So are you transitioning from Series 1 to Series 2? And I know you've only had a day or so to really go through Series 2. But do you notice any differences or any distinct changes that you find in the book that you find that really impress you, or maybe something that you feel stands out compared to Series 1?
They're both excellent. To be honest, one of the things I particularly love about Series 2 is it has more writers in it who I have personal relationships with. So that's exciting.
That helps, yeah.
Because, I people whose work that I've admired, people who I've been in workshop with, are represented in here. And so that makes it extra special compared to the first one. I feel more connected to this community now because, there's been more time and it's grown. So I think if, again, you're right. I've only had a day with it, but there is throughout it. You've got Nick Masiosi in here. You've got Angie Mack. You've got Madeline Artenberg again. You've got Damian Ward Hay. He's got 7 pages. His beautiful stuff about Rockaway, New York. there's just an awful lot of good poetry and some lovely short and even longer fiction. I haven't read the fiction yet, but you represent. I mean, one thing I saw in this one that I don't remember from the first one is there's more diversity in things in terms of. I know the transgender community is represented in this issue, so if anything, it just seems to be a continuation of your mission statement for the show, for Parrot TV, and for the anthologies that I mean, it's series 2. I know I'm excited that down the road there's going to be a series 3. So this is you're building something here that I'm pretty excited about.
Excellent. And we're glad to have you a part of it. I want to also point out that this edition has the full bios of each of the contributors in the back. So if you read an author in this book and you enjoy their work, you can actually look and see where else they're published or what other collections they have, and maybe even endorse them a little further by buying a copy of, if you happen to like a poem that it's in the book, and maybe it's been previously published, or maybe you just find that poet intriguing or writer intriguing, and maybe you want to patronize them a little further by buying a copy of other books they've published or published in. Then that's the option. We have the bios in the back to look and see what kind of information you want to know about each author as you're looking through. So we did that this time around. We didn't do that the first time. First time it was just we named the country they were from in the table of contents, and then but we pretty much followed the same format, other than it being an 8x10 size rather than being a 6x9.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's kind of a square shaped book rather than a rectangular. And
I love the formatting on the pages too. And I did just, I had not actually seen all of the biographies in the back. Again, it got here at like 6:00 last night.
Right.
So that actually is awesome. And you're absolutely right. This for the folks in here that I'm not as familiar with, this is going to give me an opportunity to, the downside of watching Parrot Literary Corner for me is I'm on a fixed income, and it seems like every time I'm able to pick up a show, I end up wanting to spend money on books. And so now you've done it to me again, because now I've got every author in here, so I don't have to like hunt down the spelling or anything. And so you're going to have to start sending me checks so that I can watch everybody's work.
Give you official bounty for book buying.
Yeah, really.
As a patron. Yeah. It's very hard to be an author these days, because it's hard to sell books. I'm number one. We're number 6 right now with this anthology, and believe it or not, that's really great. New releases in poetry anthologies. It's a hot new seller. It's doing great, so we want to keep that momentum going. So if anybody out there is watching this program, is curious about what we do as the Parrot Literary Corner, just pick up a copy of the book. Pick it up, or pick up series 1. That's still available on Amazon. That's a beautiful cover as well, and a beautiful edition. It's 249 pages. This one happens to be 202 pages, and it includes a poetic epilogue by our producer Mutiu Olawuyi. And I think that'll be a good little plus, get a taste of his own work and his own writing style. And, and I even included my satirical introduction, in there. I don't know if you had a chance to read that yet. It's quite an amusing little, hyper political statement I made at the beginning, about literary journals, and made it kind of a, it's the very beginning at the thing. It says Declaration of the Further Rights of
yes, the Declaration of Further Rights against the literary journal establishment.
Yeah,
and, you're absolutely right. One of the wonderful things about your organization, this organization, I think of it as my organization now too, is it doesn't have the same level of, I'll call it pernicious gatekeeping.
Right.
you're always looking for quality, but you're open to any point of view. You're open to any style as long as it's well done. You actually pursue new ideas rather than run from them, which so many of the more traditional venues, a lot of us, we joke about the MFA mafia.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some great academic journals out there and some wonderful editors, but there is also like I said, pernicious gatekeeping, where everything. Well, I was joking with a friend the other day. We were talking about an old thing on Sesame Street, where they were like, one of these things is not like the other, and we were imagining poetry editors sitting there and looking at work and saying, well, we can't print that. It's not like everything else we have. It's too different. It's too unique. It's too new. It's a point of view that is uncommon, and we need that uncommon point of view. We need these fresh voices. Books like this, shows like yours, are an important part of what's going to keep us from becoming stagnant here in 2022, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And I see this is part of a new voice, particularly in the context of a worldwide pandemic that is changing but isn't going away. Right. And so we're establishing new paradigms for art and for communication. Mm-hmm. And Dustin, I got to say, you guys are on the cutting edge of that, and it's appreciated and really valued.
So how do you feel about the back cover, and especially since you're one of the blurbs there at the
since I'm on it?
Yeah
that was pretty much that when I got it, because that was a surprise. You had not mentioned that, and I immediately showed my grandchildren. I was like, look, Papa's famous, and they're like, your picture's on a book and it says what you said. And
wow.
And then my son was teasing me. He goes, okay, I guess you've arrived as an artist now, Pops. You're got your picture on a book with the Swedish Beat Poet Laureate. And but yeah, no, I like the fact that also this sort of is a physical manifestation of the tradition that you're beginning to establish, because the back cover is, hey, this is our second one. Here's the first one. Here's artists who were in it. Here's them holding the book, and here's what they have to say about what was there. So now you can look at that and then read this and compare, like Madeline Artenberg, who's a good friend and a fellow artist. She said on here, there are so many voices from all over the world in this anthology. They're honest, raw, and deep. It's exciting to note this anthology appeared on August 2021 as second bestseller on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
But she nails it right there. Voices from all over the world that are honest and raw and deep. And that is true in this one too. It's a continuation of the mission and a continuation of bringing voices to everybody that aren't necessarily going to be found otherwise. So, and it's important.
And I think it's really good that we go out and out of our way to really try to bring out the world community. I mean, there are a lot of poets in there that they've published elsewhere, but they may not have as strong a voice as they have with us. And on the website, NewYorkParrot.com, and that's the company for the literary corner. If you look on there, we have the literary corner there, and with a lot of poetry that we publish pretty regularly related to current events, socially relevant themes. So I want to suggest anybody out there with poetry like that, get on the ball and submit to us as soon as you get a chance.
Definitely.
Literary corner at NewYorkParrot.com. So that's where you'll find me, Dustin Pickering. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's poetry out there. So do you how do you feel about, like, you've seen some of the same voices and you've seen some new voices? What do you think of some of the the newer voices you've run across that you maybe not as familiar with beforehand when you were reading through the book?
Well, let me go ahead. As I said, I just got it
Mm-hmm.
last night, and but I did sort of go through and, well, on page 85, for instance, we've got a couple of poems that have been translated into English. That they're older poems by Pavel Janik, both from 1981, but yeah, those have not been accessible to me. Now they're translated into English by, and I'll butcher the name, but Smiljana Pixiades, and they're beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And the translations are beautiful, which is not easy to do, as you know.
Yeah.
Uh, to manage to capture a poet's voice when their voice is in another tongue. But I mean, I'll read this first one because it's short. The Touch. Landscape of a country of miracles, beds of the bankless rivers of salty water. Under them flows a boiling metal. A female trunk is smoldering in my arms. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not, that's not stuff I'm reading in a lot of the journals. These
Mm-hmm.
are compelling and evocative images, and and powerful language. Um, I mean, bankless rivers of salty water. In America, nobody thinks about rivers being salty,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, and that's a silly little thing, but it brings me to the point of what having this international flavor does
Mm-hmm.
is it gives us an opportunity to explore artists who are living within different cultures, different paradigms, different circumstances. And that kind of communication, that kind of awareness, the kind of perception that you get by reading the words of an artist from another culture, it gives you a depth and an understanding and sympathy, if you will, and empathy that you're not going to get in a lot of other ways. So again, books like this, they help us create a world community
Mm-hmm.
of artists and writers and journalists and thinkers, and not a community where everyone is thinking the same thing, but a community where everyone is challenging each other and teaching each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I both know that that perception is absolutely determined by where you're standing at any given moment.
Mm-hmm.
We both have the habit in our poetry of writing poems where we keep shifting where we're standing in
Right.
order to move a story forward
Mm-hmm.
with simile and analogy.
Mm-hmm.
And this book does this so beautifully. I hope I said that in a way that
Right.
conveys my appreciation of wonder of what you've created.
So I think the international flavor in it, as you mentioned, being able to empathize with other, cultures and in the way that they see things and the way that maybe there's emphasis in language that other cultures have that say for, the United States, like where we're based, both of us are based. We, like you said, we wouldn't talk about a salty river necessarily. It would just be a river's a river, or something, a body of water. We don't think about that kind of, depth about a river as much. And maybe in that case, Pavlov was, maybe that was unique to him, or maybe that's a way that the language, his native language, that they focus on that kind of detail in some way. And I find that one of the things we did, in this book, as we bring in people, it's all in English. And so English is becoming pretty universal. So that's a good way to, have people look at this language, and we can communicate across all kinds of barriers,
Yeah.
and talk, we're talking in the same language, but we're also speaking in dramatically different linguistic conceptions, I think.
Well, and even one layer beyond that, there's quite a bit of expatriate poetry in here. Like on page 69, Falia Hassan,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful poem. No one said London is very cold. I mean, this is someone who is now in Europe, who comes from the Middle East, and they are, talking to me in the Midwest of the United States about how their experience of coming to London from a completely different world and culture, and in a clever way. No one said London is very cold. And they don't. Nobody does say that. And London does get very cold. And there's
Right.
a wonderful poem about that. And so, it gives us this opportunity to broaden our perspective on the universe. And so as both, a reader, but also as an artist, as a poet, the books like this, missions like Parrot TV and you guys, they broaden my perspective, which is going to make me a better writer, and is going to help me be a better citizen of this artistic world. So it's an old, overused chestnut of a word, but there's a huge amount of synergy going on here, and and I know how much work goes into creating that synergy. So, thank you, guys.
You're quite welcome, and I hope other people in the literary community will take a look at this book and then give us some reviews on Amazon and tell us what they think, and maybe even email me personally again at literarycorner@newyorkparrot.com and let me know what they think of the book, or if they want to be a part of another project we're working on in the future. We would need more interviews. We're kicking back into that pretty soon. We took a brief break to work on this book and get some things in order, and then we were going to get back into the programming. Hopefully, pretty soon. This month we're going to start getting back into regular programming. So yeah, we're looking forward to that, and I'm glad people really have connected with what we're doing and have a solid idea of what our mission is, and are participating in it in a lively way. That this was a totally organic thing. I mean, it just sort of we let it spontaneously develop. We just kind of the people that contributed, they were all on the show at some point, or they contributed to our website, when we did that, when we still have that open as an option for people that want to publish, but maybe are a little shy to be on an interview and they want to put a poem up on our website. And again, that's for socially relevant or hot topics, current events going on in the world. That's just something that we wanted to do, and we're going to continue to do. And pretty soon here in 2022, we're going to keep pushing forward with new projects and we'll be unveiling those pretty soon to keep as those come up and we get these moving along. And we'll have those projects unveiled in the coming next year. We'll have everything. Hopefully, we'll be putting this together pretty soon and have a way that we can actually benefit each other more as a community. So part of this community building is to general, that'll help make lives easier for creative writers, and hopefully we'll actually some of us get paid a little bit for what we do. So, I mean, I'm really glad people are connecting with what we started with, what we're working on. So it's really wonderful that you love the book and that you totally understand what we're doing, and so how about you read your poem from the
Sure. And I guess it's kind of appropriate here because you did publish this time a poem that I wrote about COVID that relates it from a historical standpoint and really is sort of an international perspective on it. So it's a good fit for the book. Right. This poem is called "In London During the War." In London during the war, the sound of dripping syrup methodically tapping a tattoo on the shelf below from a can of peaches pierced by bomb shrapnel while sitting on a London apartment shelf during the Blitz. In our plague year, the sound of an ICU respirator wheezing to a stop after the code has been called. Time of death marked by the patient's cell phone, now unplugged and placed in the bag for her children. This plague year has changed us all. Time speeding up and slowing down to the rhythms of serotonin, anxiety creating brilliant, focused experience, like a microscope being dialed into the cellular level. They say that in London during the war, people felt more alive. The specter of sudden death from the sky made them love faster, drink longer, fuck harder. In our plague year, we endure the specter of slow death, not from the sky, but from the air. Droplets like shrapnel piercing the lungs, slowly stealing breath away. We only grow heavier, eating and watching and hiding from the miasma. They say that in London during the war, people died alone, trapped in the wreckage of bombed buildings. In our plague year, people die alone, trapped in hospital beds, tethered to machines instead of family, each breath more shallow than the last until the ragged sound stops. They say that in London during the war, each morning people would emerge blinking, wearing masks against the dust and smoke, marking the demise of another shop or restaurant to bomb or fire as they navigated the minimums of life, picking up a prescription, trying to find milk or toilet paper because children are still thirsty and we must shit until we die. Wandering for items that would fill the hole of uncertainty and named fear. The anonymity of masked travel, making the eyes do all of the work of the face, trying to connect through fabric and fear. In our plague year, it is the same. They say that in London during the war, everyone pulled together. They had the connection of a shared enemy. In our plague year, we are denied that connection. False news and finger pointing make us misdirect our resolve away from shared purpose toward disconnecting conspiracy and suspicion. They say that in London during the war, everyone became stronger. In our plague year.
Wow. There's some really thick images there, and I would unravel it, but it's a very long poem, and I suggest anybody that's hearing the poem to buy the book and read it for themselves and get an idea of, what this poem is trying to say, related to today's world and what's going on right now with, all the various things that we're experiencing with related to the COVID virus and the restrictions imposed. And, you mentioned conspiracies and, viewing each other with suspicion and, just a general breakdown of society. We're going to take a brief break, but we'll be right back with more discussion of the Literary Parrot Series 2. Thanks for watching so far. Keep up. Taking a brief break, if we can. I think we're having some technical issues here. We'll just we'll babble for a little bit until the break happens. This is a great anthology. It's only $18 on Amazon plus their shipping, and basically just pick up a copy. It's right now. It's at number 6, and it's a wonderful book. It's 202 pages. 8x10 coffee, table size, coffee table.
The Prisoner. I can still smell you on my pillowcase, in the comforter and sheets. Thought about doing laundry, but decided to keep you with me just a little while longer. Riding giants. Each new love affair is like standing in front of a 50-foot wave. It looked doable from shore. Gifts. The son of a bitch left me broke and blacked out, with a stripper's name written in black Sharpie on my forearm, 3 bright orange traffic cones in my bedroom, and a 2-day hangover. He is the best friend ever. Wishful thinking. We kissed once. It was on the corner of Rampart Street in St. Peter, New Orleans. I wish I could say it was that magic movie moment with the perfect song, perfect setup, lighting just right, and bright orange moon overhead. Anticipation giving way to action like the final scene in 16 Candles, when the 2 main characters are kissing on a table, birthday cake shining with lit candles in between, and nothing left to wish for. And when the credits rolled, everyone was already halfway home, satisfied and happy with what the stars brought to them. But our kiss wasn't like that. It was sloppy. We were drunk. The music sucked. There was spilled beer and strangers crowding our space. We could not really call it romantic. We could only admit that it happened once. There have been no second chances. I have had 1,000 more moments between that kiss and today. Some amazing, others incredible, fulfilling and fun, but all have put me here, back here, alone, staring at the stars, with only one wish left.
Corner, brought to you by New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity. Hi, welcome back to the Literary Corner. That was a poem by Todd Cirillo and music with Sanka Sen in the background there with Tequila. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Today we have Rick Christiansen on the show. If you've been watching, we're talking about Literary Parrot Series 2, which is currently number 6 on Amazon's hot new release in poetry anthologies. So if you haven't picked up a copy, find out what is going on in poetry circles today. Learn more about the international circuit of work all over the world. You know, the current state of affairs everywhere from, here to India, all the way from west to east. And just pick up this book and take a look. It's an international anthology, the Literary Parrot Series 2. And just tell us what you think. Leave a review on Amazon. It's $18 plus the shipping from Amazon's rate. So, wherever you're at, you'll be paying that. And, we'll get it up on Pothy.com pretty soon. So if you're in India or thereabouts, that'll be a little easier to get a hand on that when that comes up. So, Rick, so tell us a little bit more about, why should somebody buy this book?
Well, we'll start out with if you enjoyed Todd in that interlude, Todd Cirillo has 2 poems in this on pages 27 and 28. I mean, I guess I'll just some of the best and objectively so, some of the best poets working in the world right now are represented in both Series 1 and Series 2. Mm-hmm. People from all different kinds of, not just, cultural communities, but the different kinds of writing communities. You've got beat poets, you've got lyrical poets, you've got people working in a narrative tradition. You've got, folks from academia. You do have your share of MFAs and PhDs in here. Mm-hmm. And people who are writing, about in a conventional way, but about unconventional things, mm-hmm. because you don't put anything in here that is just common. That's mm-hmm. one of the things that is so special about sort of the paradigm, the vision that you guys have. It's that if you come to Parrot, you're going to find things and connections that are not made elsewhere. You're going to find artists who have the freedom to communicate in ways that they don't feel free to communicate elsewhere. Every poet, every writer, of course, most of them, they want to get published. Mm-hmm. And I've talked in workshop, and you and I have talked about this, where you have to sometimes fight within yourself to not be your own gatekeeper, to not mm-hmm. edit yourself to a degree where, you're writing to a specific audience, so that you can get it published. And right. You don't want it to lose your voice. You don't want it to lose your ideas. I'm not here to write pablum. I'm not here to write stuff that's going to go on a Hallmark card. Right. I'm here to reach all the way down to myself. And I don't write because I want to. I write because I have to. We've talked about that also. This mm-hmm. book is full of writing that came out of people who had no choice but to write. And that comes through in the passion of the work. And you're not going to find that in a Norton anthology.
Right. So we got power and punch and not pablum. Power, punch, and pungency rather than pablum. Yeah, I think that's a good little catchphrase we could use at some point. You know, I like that. You know that you're you're in tune with what's in the book. You know, and I think it's wonderful that you're excited about it, and I hope some of our viewers as well, watching this program today, will pick up their own copy of this book. It's a very wonderful book. It's beautifully done, 8x10, and it's 8x10 size with some of the most phenomenal writers out there today. And there's also visual art. So we have a few photographs. We have some art, some paintings that were put in there, some wonderful artwork in this visionary experience of a book. So if you're out there watching and you're just looking for something exciting, something to get excited about, anything excites you, you want to get into this book. You want to jump in and just experience and delve into the literary circle that's this world is experiencing currently, and get an idea to measure the ethos of the times. The goal here is to bring in diversity of voices with a wide experience, a wide range of worldwide language constructions, and things that we can all relate to and feel, but different ways of experiencing the world as we know it. So I think that's something that we've tried to accomplish, and I'm pretty sure we've done a very, very excellent job. This is a very exciting project, and we're going to keep pushing forward. We're going to keep moving this thing forward, and just doing what we do. And this is a very progressive experiment in literature to see what kind of mediums we can navigate in order to promote
Yeah. I completely agree. And I'll make a more prosaic point.
Okay.
The physical book is well constructed. It's beautifully done. In the kind of cutting edge literature that you guys are producing, there are other places to find it sometimes, but very often it is in very, very small, not super professional, independent presses. And I don't want to denigrate what they're doing in any way, because it's important.
Right.
But you get your hands on some of these books, and by the time you flip through it twice, it is literally falling apart. I can tell you, this thing is never going to fall apart. It is well constructed. The graphics are good. The typeset is clean. And again, that's a prosaic point to make, but it's important, because a product like this is it's more than one thing. It's the words, it's the ideas, but it's also something that I can open up in a year or a year and a half after I've been through it 50 or 100 times and thumbed through it, and it's not going to be a bunch of leaves on the floor. It's still going to be a book, and that matters. And that's and so if people who look and say, oh, $18, that's an awful lot for, well, it's nothing for what you're getting.
Right.
It's over 200 pages of well-constructed words on well-constructed paper, and that's something that's worth a couple of dollars.
Right. I totally agree. It's a beautiful and exciting volume. And if you guys out there, if you've made your pre-orders, they'll be out there. They should be getting on your doorstep within a week or two. I'm watching Amazon as I've ordered, to make sure that these things get where they need to be as soon as we get them out there. Slightly disappointed that some people were able to order it after we put it out and get it before the pre-orders were able to ship. I don't know why that happened, because I ordered the pre-orders as soon as we put it up on. So I'm a little bit of a critical there of Amazon, and they're being a slowpoke on those that we did pre-orders for. But those pre-orders will be out to those that ordered them very soon. So keep an eye out. They should be there by Christmas. If you're in maybe Canada or a little somewhere further out from the United States, then they may be a little bit later. But most of them should be here on your store, on your doorstep within a couple of weeks.
And Dustin, speaking of Christmas, I can highly recommend this if you've got people in your life who like good poetry, who like good fiction, who like cutting edge ideas, articulated with in many cases courage and extreme skill. This is a great gift. This is a great thing to give someone that you love at Christmas this year, because it's not just one gift. It's a couple of hundred. You're giving the gift of some of the most incredible minds in the world today, because they are represented here. I will not hold myself among them by any means, but there are people in here who are doing some of the best writing that is going on right now, and talking about really important things in important ways. So yeah, buy yourself one if you haven't got it. Buy them as gifts. You can't go wrong with this book. You can't go wrong with series 1. You know, if you got somebody you love a lot, buy them both, and give them 2 treats under the tree. Right, Dustin?
Good stocking stuffers. I think the first one will be better because it's a 6x9. It'll fit right there in that stocking. But the 8x10 will be good to put under the tree, maybe, or put on the even leave one for Santa if you really want to get risky there. And just leave one for Santa to pick up while you're while he's coming through. He may ho 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 here.
Yeah. I mean, and the second one, I mean, it's big enough. This qualifies as a coffee table book. So you can put it out there so that when your Aunt Mary shows up and is sitting there and the TV's not on and she gets a little bored, she can pick it up and we can maybe wake her up a little bit in a way that she hasn't been awakened in the suburbs for a little while. Because there's some really, really beautiful stuff in here. And it's all about, I mean, what is, again, we've talked about this, Dustin. Art is about change in the world. Art is about changing minds. It's about creating new paradigms. It's about finding new ways to talk about old things and talking about new things in even newer ways. And the conversation that is literature. I mean, how long has it been important? 5,000 years?
Right.
And I know people don't read the way they once did, but some people still do. And I know I have 8 grandchildren, and I'm pushing them to appreciate the classics. But I'm also, they know that some nights, Papa will have wonderful treats, but you have to sit and listen to him read some of his favorite people's stuff to them, because I want their brains to be alive in a way that they're not going to be just from watching television and TikTok and I mean, there's good stuff on YouTube, but this is important. This is our legacy. This is civilization, and ideas like what are in here are the only way we're going to build the minds that are going to solve the problems that are going to allow us to be on this planet in 100 years. I mean, literally that short a time now. I mean, we are in a time where what we do now matters in a way that it probably never has before.
With that said, we're going to go ahead and close the show. And I appreciate you so much, Rick, for being on here with us today. Thanks to our viewers. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. And also click, like and share our content, like, love, and share, as they say on Facebook. And just make sure that we get our content out there for you guys to enjoy. And if you don't have a copy of the Literary Parrot Series 2, you've got to get it. It's exciting. It's just, this is phenomenal. This book is going to, it's going to be a milestone in the way literature is presented in the future and how we navigate these circles of the world, the international sphere. So if you don't have a copy, you want to pick up a copy just to experience it. This is something that will also help our programming and help us push forward and helping creative writers in the future as we bring in some new projects in 2022. So do buy a copy, and we still accept donations at paypal.me/nyparrot. If you want to send us a little gift for Christmas, we'd love that. We'd appreciate it very much, actually. And we will be renewing program this month. regular interviewing again. So if you want to be on the program, we definitely want to hear from you. So you can get in touch with me, Dustin Pickering, at Literary Corner at NewYorkParrot.com. That's Literary Corner at NewYorkParrot.com. You see it right there. It's on the banner. You guys just, write that email address down right now and get it out there, and get your email out. Send a bio, a headshot. If you want, send a couple of poems my way so I get an idea of who you are as a writer. Or if you're not a poet, you can send me a short story or any number of other things that you may be creating. We also want to get painters and musicians involved in this. So if you're a musician, you have a video that you'd like to share, feel free to send it my way, and I'll take a look at it, and we'll see if we can get it on during one of our breaks. So thank you so much, everybody out there, for watching today. If you haven't picked up a copy of the Literary Parrot Series 2, this is an exciting, phenomenal volume. Pre-order period is over, but you can get it from Amazon at $18 plus shipping and tax, and I hope you will definitely take advantage of this. This is a momentous volume in the history of the Republic of Letters, so please pick up a copy. You don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for being involved with us in our programming, and keep up supporting us as much as you can. We love you guys so much. Get out there, read, write, and enjoy, and share our content. Thank you for a phenomenal afternoon. Thank you, Rick, again. Subscribe to our YouTube. Have a great afternoon. We're looking for 1 million subscribers. Remember that, 1 million YouTube subscribers. So join us in our wonderful presentation of literary minds, creative artists. And again, you got to pick up the Literary Parrot Series 2. Just don't hesitate. It's number 6 right now. That's 6. Number 6 in the new releases amongst poetry anthologies. So if you haven't picked up a copy, you're missing out. You're also, when you buy a new copy, you're helping us climb to the top of the new release ladder there on Amazon, which will make us more visible, and that'll bring us to more notoriety, which we want, because that means your poetry will also be noticed and recognized.
Listen to the people, listen to humanity, listen to the parrot, Parrot TV.